And we service 7 counties right now, primarily Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, Allegheny, Niagara, Erie, Wyoming, and we have serviced Genesee and Orleans, but we don't routinely do that. Our north office services Monroe, and that's at our Buffalo site, so Monroe County's closer for them, being Rochester.
Okay, it sounds like you are expanding your directions. It's new directions, right?
Yes, yes.
And it is a wonderful, it's a godly program. I can't imagine anything more important than finding a decent home for a child that needs it. And it's, I don't know, Chautauqua County, we have some homes up here, I'm sure. You'll probably get a call or two. I want to also point out that we need a contact here. Now, who would they call right here? Is there anybody in Chautauqua County who's helping out?
Well, you can call me. My direct number is 358-3636, extension 232.
Again, repeat that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know a kid that needs some care, some help, this, instead of sending them to the police, this might be a better option. Call Missy. What's the number?
358-3636, extension 232.
Okay, and you will be there?
Yes, I will.
And you will say, just bring them over, we'll look at them, we'll check it out, right?
We'll give them direction of where they would go next.
You notice we use the mail.
Right?
Bring him over. Although I'm sure there are plenty of girls, young ladies who are in need.
And I think probably our bigger issue is we need foster homes. So
you need somebody to say they'll do it.
Right. So that's a big thing, and Missy's got an upcoming training coming, so we want to make sure that was put out so people are aware of it.
August 25th, I'm starting a certification class, so if you're interested in becoming a foster parent, call the same number, and we can get you set up in our certification class to become a foster parent.
How long is this? What's this take?
It's a 10-week program. You meet once a week for 2 hours, and we just go through.
Give some pointers and help things out.
Yes.
Right. There's also some clearances required. Of course, we don't want children going into homes that aren't safe for them either. So there's New York State clearance forms, there's fingerprinting, there's some making sure, I guess we want to say there's a lot of people don't know that part of being a foster parent is you do receive some support in financial support, medical support, in order to care for the children. So one of the things we do screen is to make sure that people aren't just coming into it to get the money that comes with the children. But the children's needs are all cared for in terms of you're given ample money for food, clothing, to help contribute to your household expenses, your gas, your electric, your rent. And so if people aren't aware of that, and that's something that prevents them from wanting to be a foster parent, that's something we want people to know, that there is support that comes with each and every child.
Good. So you vet them carefully.
Yes.
No felonies or child abusers, and
correct.
You try to get rid of the people who have health issues. I mean,
correct.
Somebody with TB, you don't want that.
Correct. But let me say this: we have lots of grandparents that are foster parents.
Oh, really?
So you know, our
so they're foster grandparents.
Yeah. Well, we have foster parents who've been foster parents for 50 years, and they're with us. They're over 80 years old, and they still love doing it. So there is there is an audience for older seniors who have an interest in fostering.
And younger seniors too, probably.
Right.
I don't know, 72, what's that, older senior or younger senior?
I don't know. Younger, I guess.
Well, you know, a lot of people are funny about seniors. They say, gee whiz, I'm not a senior, I'm only 50. Wait a minute, there's 3 periods of life. There's 1 to 25, and then 25 to 50, and then there's 50 to 75. That's the third period, and that's the old age, middle age and young age, you know. So, hey, you hit 50 ARP, you're right. I got a phone call. You want to take a call?
Sure.
Okay, good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Lee. Some of us are watching the show this morning, and we're wondering, where do the children come from? Are they coming from Chautauqua County? And do you have homes here in Chautauqua County now?
Yes, we do. The children come from 7 counties. They're referred from all over, but yes, we actually have several children from Chautauqua County, and last year we did 4 adoptions of Chautauqua County children. So that was a great thing, being able to find permanency for those kids. But they generally come from family court or Department of Social Services.
They refer
with it being a kind of a rural county, does it matter if you live in the country or do you need to live in the city, or how's that go?
We actually take either and or. You know, we have some kids that do better in the country and some that do better in the city. So that's not a disqualifier either way.
If you have different ages, does the potential foster family get to choose the age group or the gender? How's that work?
Yes, during your certification, we do what we call as matching. So you let us know what age group you're looking for, gender, and then we kind of match with your strengths and the child's needs.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, caller. Send me a stamped self-addressed envelope. I'll send you a couple of $5 bills to the Lakeview. Yeah, it's a great restaurant down there. You're going there for lunch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
terrific lunch. They have a fish fry that never dies, and they have a salad bar that is probably a national prize winner. I've never seen so many different ingredients for a salad bar. It's not just lettuce and mayo. It's everything, guys. Including real bacon.
Oh, nice.
Everything's better with bacon on it. So it's kind of like an office temp program where if you go work for a while, you might just be hired. If you have a kid in your home, you might say, hey, I want to adopt that kid, you know?
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the hope a lot of times.
Okay, now, let's say you have an office in Randolph. How do you get up here to take care of things in Chautauqua County? That's quite a little run.
Well, the children's services, like if they have counseling or they have medical appointments, often we set their services up in those communities. So the foster parents aren't having to drive back and forth so much. Sometimes there is driving required. We go out to the foster homes twice a month to make sure everything's okay out there. So we're seeing the kids in the home, so that's not an inconvenience for the foster parents. And then we ask the foster parents generally to come into the agency twice a month for those kids so that we have an opportunity to meet with them as well.
So there's plenty of connection.
Absolutely, lots of communication.
I know you've heard of Moose Heart.
And I haven't.
The Moose organizations are a lodge, are all over the country. And every Moose club, lodge, whatever, directs a lot of their energy, a lot of their funding, their money to Moose Heart. Moose Heart is a big center. It's a huge center. It has a hospital on it. It has all kinds of clinical services. And it is exactly what you're doing. Children who have no family or in a great need are taken into Moose Heart until they're 18 years of age. And in some cases, siblings come in with them. And then, needless to say, in some cases, the mother or father will come in. They're in need, they can't function, they go in and help out. And we have a couple of people right here in this area who were raised in Moose Heart, and they get even pay for a college education.
Wow.
They take care of these kids constantly. So they're basically doing what you're trying to do. Now, if that brings, I'm trying to segue into the question, if you have no room for this child who is in great need, what do you do with them?
Well, counties will make referrals, and
Yeah.
if we didn't have something, they would refer to some other agencies in the area.
So you don't, you just dodge the bullet. You don't say, here, we're going to do this, you know?
Right, we can't take every youth.
Of
Sometimes
course
their
not.
needs
Yeah.
exceed what we're capable of doing.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes, if that's the case, we'll recommend that they contact our residential program, which is in Randolph, which was the Randolph Children's Home, which is New Directions residential facility now, or our Wyndham Lawn site, which is in Lockport. Wyndham Lawn Home for Children is also one of our,
Wyndham, what is it?
Wyndham Lawn.
Wyndham Lawn.
And that's was an orphanage way back, and it's also a residential treatment facility in Lockport.
So orphanages, quote, seem to be disappearing.
Right.
Yes.
They just, they're going away. It's kind of like mental hospitals are disappearing.
Right.
They pretty much wipe them. I always, Gowanda, we always used to say. Gowanda had a large mental hospitals facilities there. They're a huge one. And as one of the many they shut down, they said, well, what we'll do is just have them go locally to a clinic. And I guess that's kind of the way the orphanage is operating again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. They want to try and keep children in their own homes if at all possible, but if they reach the point where that's not possible, then that's where we kind of come in and offer either residential or foster care services to the youth and their families.
And you said the medical comes along. How does that work?
The children in foster care all have Medicaid, and it's Medicaid that's funded through their primary county. And then what we do is we facilitate assisting them locating a provider, the foster parents or the birth family, or if we can keep them with their own providers, we do. And so we assist them in getting all their medical services. All our youth get medical, dental, psychiatric, vision, all the regular routine screenings, immunizations that every other kid gets. We also, I guess it's important to say too, we help facilitate educational placements for all the children.
Now, what's that mean?
Well, when children come into foster
Uh-huh.
care, they still need to go to school.
Right.
So the goal is that we, ideally, when a referral comes in, they would prefer that you try to keep the child in their school district. So we do that if at all possible. So if they're in the Randolph School District and they need to come into foster care, we're going to look for a home in Randolph that could take them. But if we can't do that, then we go out to other districts or towns where we have foster homes, and then those children are enrolled in school there. And then we offer support to the schools to try and help make that transition successful.
So, how many homes do you have down there that are actually providing foster care at this time? Do you have any idea, Missy?
We have 20 homes right now,
Uh-huh.
and we have 18 kids in our foster care program, 2 of which are in our supervised independent living program that Leslie coordinates.
What is that?
That's it's called a SILP in the lingo, supervised independent living. And basically, what we do is if the young people, young adults meet the criteria, we will help set them up in an apartment. It can go up until age 21. If they're appropriate to be in that level of care, we provide their rent, their utilities, a food stipend, an allowance, all they would need to live on their own while they pursue their educational or employment goals up to age 21.
Okay.
And those apartments can be based wherever the need is. So we have one young man who lives in Olean in an apartment. He goes to JCC in Olean. We've got a couple that live in Chautauqua County. We're actually looking for some apartments in Chautauqua County near JCC in Jamestown so that those youth can continue to pursue their college goals while living in an apartment. And that's just the next step after foster care. You know, as my 21-year-old transitions out of my life and goes on his own, you know, he still has our support. So this is kind of the next step for our youth in foster care, is to transition into this program and then hopefully develop some skills about how to maintain a home, how to buy groceries, how to budget, how to get to doctor's appointments and do all that stuff.
Okay, we got a call, and we'll continue on this line a minute. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, madam. What's up with you?
My question is whether or not there's help for the kid itself. If the kid finds himself in a situation in which he doesn't like or becomes different than he expected, is there a way for that child to talk to someone and either be moved or have something different happen to them?
Are you talking about his family or?
Well, if the kid is placed in a foster home and they find themselves in a situation that they don't necessarily agree with, is there a chance for them to be moved or something happen to
Yeah,
them?
what happened?
Well,
Can you send them back?
Well, what's most important that we think is trying to match so that when they go in, that they're in the right fit of home that can meet their needs. Moves do happen with our youth, especially in our therapeutic program, which is all of our kids in the Southern Tier right now are in therapeutic. They see workers twice a week. So they have opportunities twice a week to share any concerns they have about the foster home, and then we're able to address the foster parents. They're not all perfect matches, and sometimes we do have to make changes in placement. But we try to go in the front door to be planful, to pick a family that we think can meet their needs in the best possible way.
Well, thank you, caller. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. What happens if they get into trouble or something, like for some reason they shoplift or something like that?
Well, we try and deal with that in a family setting like you would deal with it with your own kids. And if there's, legal involvement, then we deal with the legal system. Generally, we don't have a huge problem with any of the typical issues, truancy, shoplifting, any of those things. But we would encourage families, foster families, to deal with it as they would with their own children.
Okay, thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you, caller. Send me an envelope. I got a